In 1942, at the height of the Second World War's Pacific War, an Australian minesweeper, the HMAS Armidale, came under heavy artillery fire from Japanese aircraft off the coast of what we now know today as Timor-Leste. 77 years on, and the actions of one 18-year-old Tasmanian, Edward Teddy Sheean, the most junior sailor on board, have caused huge debate. But today, it's been put to rest.
Made his way up to the back of the ship with the stern rising. He was wounded on the way to the gun. He was not the gunner at the after-Willikin, he was the loader. But he strapped himself into that gun, into the harness, and then he began firing at the attacking Japanese aircraft that was strafing his shipmates and killing them in the water. He was wounded again while firing the gun and then was killed at the gun. Whether he was killed as a consequence of wounds or drowned attached to the gun as the ship sank remains unclear. So in summary, this man deserves the Victoria Cross for Australia.
That was Brendan Nelson, Dr. Brendan Nelson, who led the review, and some would say a review that had to match two reviews, one that was against awarding the VC to Teddy Sheean, one that was for awarding the VC to Teddy Sheean, and had to seek new information to decide the issue. He was in charge of that review, and I couldn't think of a better person to be in charge. The Prime Minister today was quick to announce he'll be recommending to the Queen a posthumous Victoria Cross for Teddy Sheean.
This is an exceptional case, and it took many years for this case to first emerge after the Second World War in terms of whether the award that was provided was sufficient for the gallantry on that day. And sometimes justice takes a long time, but I'm pleased that it is now being addressed.
It would have been easy for the Prime Minister, for any kind of board, to look at this and say, well, for sentimental reasons, he deserves something, let's give him the VC. But you can't give these things out willy-nilly. You degrade the Victoria Cross. We're joined now by Teddy Sheean's nephew, Garry Ivory, from Launceston in Tasmania. Garry, thank you very much for your time.
Not a problem.
This has been a long time coming for your family. What's the emotion been like? What's your reaction?
Oh, mate, today's a day I can't explain how I feel. I've cried, I've jumped for joy, I've done about everything, mate. It's just so emotional, and I don't know. It's hard to explain my feelings, but I'm very, very happy. The tears are happy tears.
If there's an afterlife, he'd be saying thank you, thank you, thank you. You didn't hear from him today, did you?
I don't know. I think he's been on my shoulder a fair bit over the last 32 years. Someone's led me somewhere to places I have been.
Can you run us through the story that leads to Teddy now receiving a VC? What are your recollections, and also what have you discovered about his gallant effort in those attacks? I
think you know the story, what Teddy's deed was, or would you like me to say that?
Oh, well, go ahead and tell me the thing that has impressed you and your family most about what he achieved.
Well, after the Armidale was attacked and it started sinking after two torpedoes had hit it, Teddy was at the side of the ship, ready to jump into the motorboat. They cut the ropes to lower the motorboat. Mm-hmm. He saw his mates getting strafed in the water. He must have decided, I'll go back and have a crack at him, and he made his way back to the after-Willikin gun. And the most important part there is he wasn't wounded when he made that decision. He was wounded when he got back to the gun. And to me, that's very worthy of a Victoria Cross. And in my family, and I know from other sides of the Sheean family, this was never talked about. Now, whether it was because they were bitter, he never got the right award or not, I don't know. But I first read a book in 1988 called The Ship That Had to Die. And as soon as I read that, I started thinking, why didn't this man young man get a VC?
He could have easily have got in that raft and escaped, could he not?
He could have done, yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And decided to go back and try and defend his mates who were being pummeled at the time. Now, sorry, go on.
And some very important information I didn't know about the them getting the Japanese information from their war archives. But I did get a call from two brothers. Their dad was one of the survivors on Armidale.
Yeah.
And they were saying they heard the survivors talking about how the planes took evasive action when Teddy started firing. So, and that's virtually what the Japanese are saying.
Yeah. That he actually literally saved lives, which is incredible to hear.
So, yeah.
Previous attempts for this VC honour have been knocked back, firstly in a 2013 inquiry, then in 2017 the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defence refused him the accolade, and a review held last year by the Defence Honours and Awards Tribunal found no new evidence, but it was the information from the Japanese archives that got it over the line. Have you got to the stage where you've given yourself the ability to celebrate this, or now that it's going off to the Queen, is there another hurdle you think needs to be hopped over?
Oh, it's still a hurdle, no doubt. But I really think if the Queen gets the information, what the Prime Minister's put out on it, and to look at when she was 18, she was in the war too. So she, there's a bit of a comparison there. So, I believe that the right decision will be made. I'm very hopeful anyway.
And what about time? Does it matter to you how long it takes? These things do grind very slowly.
They do, the wheels of progression, as they say. I've been doing this for 32 years and I've learned to be a bit patient over the years. So it's just, yeah.
It's a great bit of terrific news today at a time when we could all use it, I bet. The same applies to your family. Well done to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Teddy Sheean's nephew, Garry Ivory. What a fight it's been over 3 decades for that family. And I love the fact that he's prepared to wait a little longer.